Hello, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. This is Rachel Paling, and we are continuing with this interesting topic of language coaching and what that is. And I'm very excited today because we are speaking with Argentina, and we are speaking with Dana Poklepovic. Dana, how was my pronunciation there?
Excellent, Rachel.
Oh, fantastic. Good. And Dana, could you introduce yourselves to the listeners to give them a little bit your experience and your language journey, because it's absolutely fascinating.
Thanks, Rachel. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm thrilled to be here and sharing with my experience in language teaching and coaching and how it evolved. My journey began 20 years ago or 20-something years ago, and my first degree is in translation studies and in business English teaching. And that's the way I began working in companies, teaching and translating. And when I used my first tools as a teacher, I realized that there was something else that our business learners needed. It was not enough to teach them in an instructional way, so to say. And I began using intuitively some tools that were more successful than the instructional methods. So I began exploring how this where was this rooted, and I came across ontological coaching. That was my first studies in coaching. And the ontological coaching is based on the ontology of language. And basically, it is formed by an approach that is formed by three aspects. And we are, as human beings, we are language beings, we are emotional beings, and we act with our behavior in the interaction. And the business learner, I realized, that needed more of that than just instruction, because when they interact in the business context, there are emotions involved, there are different behaviors involved, and of course, all of this happens in and through language. And that's why I began studying the ontology of language.
Yeah.
Some years passed, and I began studying also how the brain works. And I came across the conversational intelligence, and I got certified in this, in the way the brain acts, our brain, and how we can help our learners through different tools and activities to become aware of the chemistry within us, inside us, and our brains.
Yeah.
So that's the way I got into coaching and how I work with coaching. I teach a business English. Mostly now I work in workshops. I deliver workshops in leadership, in different soft skills. And I do something else about coaching that is not the language coaching, and it's about the coaching for the inclusion of people with disabilities in companies. So that is more or less my first idea of what I've been doing, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And you know, your journey sounds very similar to my journey. That sort of understanding that, yes, there is something different. Intuitively, you were already doing it, which I find a lot of teachers are nowadays. And then you dived into that coaching world, and I love that sort of language, emotion and behavior from the ontological coaching. That's fantastic. And then you dived into the brain aspect, which is amazing, because you're right. The more that we understand about our brains and how they function, react and learn, the more we can help the learners. So really, I'm happy to hear that you were sensing and then seeing that you were getting different results and better results. Now, how do you think, Dana, that, you know, in your experience all these years, how do you think that the industry is changing, you know, the language learning field, whether in business or general or whatever you think? How is it evolving?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Rachel, because it has in fact changed, and it is changing very quickly at a very fast speed. When I began 20 years ago, as I told you, our learners were used to learning in a different ways. Not only language, they learned everything, any subject or any study. The approach was more systematic, so to say, and the way business began to be done in the world because of globalization and many other things that were happening, led us and business people to interact in a more soft way, placing soft skills in a more important place, and empowering people also to be the creators of their own realities at work and in the business English class and at schools, because coaching can be really, it's not my area of expertise, but you can start using coaching skills and coaching tools to teach language to young kids at schools. And because what people need nowadays, whether at school, at organizations or wherever, they need to be empowered. That's the main change that I experienced during all these years.
Yeah.
If we empower our learners, if we motivate them, they will become better communicators. I'm sure of that. And I've seen the results in this way. They are better communicators if they know, if they can set their own goals, if they can track their own performance. So if I had to summarize it in a few words, I think that empowerment in communication leads to better communicators.
Yeah.
And this is done through coaching.
Yes. And I fully agree with you on that. I think, you and I know that language learning does cause a lot of emotional stress. It causes changes in behavior. And when people are able to then take that power in themselves and really bring that language through, it's totally a phenomenal change. And I agree that coaching and understanding the brain helps in all of that. So what would you say that language coaching is for you?
Well, it's the way we use coaching tools to help business learners, in my case, develop communication skills. I'm not talking about only language, because probably we are actually receiving in Argentina, in companies, young professionals who no longer are not A1 or A2 level. We are receiving B2 and C1 young professionals. So they don't need to learn a language. They already know the language, but they need to develop skills to be self-confident speakers. And language coaching helps them. So what language coaching is, if I have to give you a definition, is the way we use coaching skills and coaching tools to help business learners develop communication skills.
Yeah.
And become better communicators.
Yeah.
This is in this business.
Fantastic. And where do you think this is going to lead us in the future?
Excellent question, Rachel. My feeling is that we are teachers. The idea of a teacher, the role of a teacher will ready. We are facilitators. We are not longer instructors, as it happened so many years ago, and we are becoming. You know what a coach is? A coach is someone that helps and accompanies the coachee to find the solution to their own problems, or it doesn't have to be a problem, but a situation they want to solve or to approach, And they have the key. They always have the solution. What the coach does is accompany and help them through questions. For questions, these are one of the tools to find a way. So we are empowering through our method of coaching method to become better communicators. Because again, if we are working in a leadership workshop, for example, like I was working the last week, what they need is to use what they already know about language, but use it when they are going to be exposed to the situation. And for that, they need self-confidence. They need to have their own goals, to set their own goals. They have to know, for example, storytelling, and that is through coaching that we can teach them, or we can help them develop that skill. Yeah. You understand what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely. And what I'm really sensing is it's this, how can we as educators really embrace the right components for the learning process so that it becomes much more efficient and effective?
Yes, we are. That's it. We are embracing a new era in how we are going to help learners since young age.
Yeah.
And as coaches, if we move away from language coach and we just observe a coaching executives, they do the same as in language. So the point here is to use the word language coaching correctly and not to mix it. We are not coaching a problem. We are helping them through coaching skills to learn a language or to become better communicators.
Yeah.
And that's what I fear, what is happening, because I'm very enthusiastic in this field, but I also have my concerns in the way other people see coach and say, well, this is not coaching, or what coaching is. It is not very clear because there are some people in the industry that are using the word coach in the wrong sense, or in a way that it's not very clear.
Yeah.
So I think that we as coaches need to make it clear. Yeah. And I think that your podcast, your ideas about books and your courses help the industry become aware that what coaching is, language coaching is, and what language teaching is.
Yeah, absolutely, Dana. And I'm grateful that you're bringing this up because, you and I potentially do have those qualifications as a life coach. You have the conversation intelligence qualifications, the ontological coaching qualifications, and you could practice as a life coach. I'm also an ICF ACC accredited. But what we actually do is language coaching. And I always say that if we are doing language coaching, it has necessarily to do with enhancing, improving, whatever relating to the language. It's like, we have health coaching, we have career coaching. The coaching is to help people with that first word, whether it's health improvement, career improvement, and in our case, language improvement. And you're right, there are so many who are delivering life coaching in another language and claiming this to be language coaching. And I think that's what you're saying here. And it is, how do we, as professionals, language professionals, really keep this distinction so we know that, whatever we do, enhancing it with whatever we are enhancing it, whether it's coaching, neuroscience, heart science, practical intelligence, whatever, emotional intelligence even, it is necessarily improving or something to do with language enhancement. Is that right?
Exactly. So let's take the example of a language teacher who is not a coach, does not have a certification as a coach. Now, what do we do with, what does she or he can do? They can learn about coaching skills and coaching tools, and they can apply coaching tools in their teaching, but they cannot coach and they will not be coaches. That's the way I see it, because it's like the old story in ESP or business English. Are we teaching banking and finance, for example, or are we teaching English and working with English and banking and finance vocabulary? Well, you don't need to be a banking and finance expert, but you do need to know what you're talking about. The same happens here. If we as teachers are going, without being a coach, going to use coaching tools, they need to know something. They need to have a study or a preparation or something to deliver. If not, we are using very wrong this word, and the industry will come against us.
Yes.
Can you follow me?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, I mean, the whole question is, on the legal side, coaching is not a regulated profession. And, in the ethics of being a doctor, you would never call yourself a doctor unless you are a fully unqualified doctor. In this case, it's the same, but because it's an unregulated profession, that's what is attracting people to call themselves a coach without any training. But we also have, and this is really a fascinating phenomena. I don't know if you know this, but we have the phenomena of sports coaches who, to further their profession, they actually go to university to then become a sports teacher. So they are coaches who then become teachers. And what we are teachers who become coaches. So it's quite an interesting phenomenon that is totally the other way around for the sports professional. Did you know that, Dana?
No, I didn't know that. You were first a coach and then because in Argentina you are first a sport teacher, sport professional, and then you specialize in one sport as a coach in that sport.
Right. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was that way.
No, maybe in Europe it's that way. But the point is, you're right in the sense that there is also the idea of ethics. Here, as the coaching profession is not regulated. I am a legal translator, my first degree, and my profession as a legal translator is regulated. Yeah. And the coaching is not regulated unless you are a coach and you are credited in the IATEFL, for example. But that's why, as we in the industry of business English teachers and trainers, we need to care for the way we use coaching. And I think that you are doing an excellent work in that sense, by bringing together coaches and raising awareness. Yeah. It's very important to...
Absolutely. It's the awareness of everything in life.
To give a professional idea.
Yes. And Dana, just as a final question, I'm curious because, I am very excited because in the background, I am organizing coming to Argentina in April. And I hope to be announcing that in the next weeks. Yes, so I will be able to meet you and have a coffee with you and some dinner or whatever. But definitely with a view, of doing my course over there and delivering that. But I'm curious, what is the mood in Argentina relating to coaching and language coaching?
It's very enthusiastic. I actually coach a lot of teachers here to use the coaching tools, and I'm very careful in that sense. Again, that's the way I address it, but it's a growing area of interest for teachers of English and for teachers of primary and secondary schools too.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I'm very much looking forward to our dinner together in April. I will keep in touch, and I'm very grateful to you for today. I think it's wonderful, the words that you've said and how you've said it and expressed it, I think really helps to bring that clarity to this profession, and to language teachers who are curious and want to know and want to really understand. And it's great to have somebody who has such experience explaining it. So Dana, thank you so much for today.
No, thank you, Rachel, for inviting me. And we have to make an appointment for April.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. Thank you very much. And thank you to my listeners and Dana's listeners today. And see you all, or hear you all, in the next podcast. Bye-bye.